Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 26th of February. My name is Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer.
And today, Gary, we're filming at the most magnificent house known as number 1 Jean Street, McKinnon. What a sensational location on the McKinnon Hill, walking distance to the cafes in McKinnon Road and the railway station. But how good is this renovation, Gary?
It doesn't get much better than this, Phil. Firstly, let's talk about the suburb of McKinnon. It just keeps getting better and better. Of course, the McKinnon High School not far away. We're right in the centre of all of the action, Philip. Some great cafes popping up all over the place, and this is a beautiful street with magnificent homes in it.
And how good is the renovation here, Gary?
Yep.
Check out the ensuite bathroom in this house. I'm thinking about coming back and spending the afternoon here. But this is also the suburb, Gary, where last year Gary Peer and Associates set the record with selling a house only a couple of streets from here for almost $3 million. So this is a suburb that has well and truly come of age.
People are still talking about that sale. You know, a lot of people speak to me. Some people didn't even know that we made it. They just said, "Did you hear about that house? Is it true?" And yes, we did make that sale. But tell us a little bit about this home, Phil.
Well, this is the most stunning house, Gary. 4 or 5 bedrooms, big entertaining areas, 3.5 bathrooms, swimming pool, this incredible outdoor alfresco area, gorgeous facade. This is a house that's a house for lifetime, Gary. You don't buy this and move on. This is a house where you'll be here, unfortunately, for a generation, which means we might not get the opportunity to resell for 20 odd years.
It's coming up for auction this Saturday, Phil, at 1:30 p.m, and you got the gig for it.
I have. Looking forward to it.
You'll have a great time. I'll look forward to being here with you to see this one go under the hammer. Let's talk about the weekend that was, Phil. What a monster weekend. It was a big one, and we can start getting those towers back up again, Phil, because the industry clearance for the weekend, the real opening weekend was?
Well, it was 73%, Gary, but let's just talk about our weekend. It was a big weekend in Melbourne, but we had 20 auctions this weekend.
We did.
And keep in mind that there's a lot of agencies in Melbourne that wouldn't do 20 auctions in a month or two, but we had 20 auctions last weekend, spread across Saturday and Sunday, and we came through with a fantastic result, 17 out of 20, which gave us 85% clearance rate against the industry average of 73%.
And the industry average did well. We did a bit better, but you can put those towers up again with a little bit of sparkle on the top, because that is very, very exciting, and I worked out the same percentage as you did, Phil, so there you go. We're pretty good at that.
Let's drill down a little bit for the viewers, because we do need to talk about what do these percentage clearance mean. Now, 85% clearance on our behalf, that is really as good as it gets anywhere in Melbourne at any time.
Absolutely.
But let's put some context to it. So the sign of a market that's struggling, I think, is really 50 to 55%. That's when you're seeing those clearance rates, you know the market's struggling. When the market goes from 55 to 65% clearance rates, that's what we call a relatively balanced market, where buyers and sellers are meeting, and that's what we call a balanced market. But when you get clearance rates in excess of 65%, let alone 70%, and I'm talking industry-wide now, then you know something's changed. And there is no question that anybody anywhere in Melbourne and Sydney, because we're following those results too,
we are.
Clearance rates now in excess of 70%. There's something going on in the market. Prices are starting to move, and we could probably call it now, Gary, that the market's alive and well and heading north.
Well, we suspected as much. We called it last week on GPTV that it was feeling good. There's lots of calls coming through, lots of inquiries, people stepping forward, stepping up to the plate to make offers, and it really is a very much invigorated market. Whether it holds out or not, let's wait and see.
But if you go to some if you go to some back episodes of GPTV, Gary, you look in November, December, we started calling it back then. We started saying that something's changing in the market. We could see it in November and December. But now that we're into the last weekend of February and now coming up for the first weekend of March, there is no question in anybody's mind that the market is on the move.
Visionaries, aren't we, Philip?
You know what, Gary? You know, we have a crystal ball. Sometimes it's a little bit hazy, but last year it was clear, Gary, and it's very exciting.
Just want those Lotto numbers. Let's talk a bit about last weekend. So much went on there, Phil, and there were so many auctions to review. Let's just run through some of them. So, Phil, Saturday morning, I think you had Saturday off actually, didn't you?
I did actually, Gary, although I did work for a couple of hours.
You didn't have to, though.
No,
you chose to.
It was all optional. That's because I love this job. It's not actually a job. I just love every moment of it, Gary.
It's a hobby, isn't it, Phil?
It is.
It started off for me on Saturday morning while you were sleeping in or having a lovely breakfast.
Actually went for a walk.
Did you?
And went out for breakfast and looked at what normal people do.
Yeah. How the other half live.
I did, Gary, and then rushed home and put on a suit because I've got to tell you, it's boring by comparison to what we do.
Well, I wasn't bored, Phil, because my first auction was at 3 at 1 Hopeton Street, Elsternwick, a very pretty period style
I
apartment.
hear that auction pumped.
Went well. We thought we might get somewhere in the mid-5s. Its reserve was around that. We ended up selling it for $601,000, Phil, and we had 4 bidders at that one. So that was very exciting, handled by Leon Guzenfitter. After that, shortly thereafter, I went to a property in Prentice Street. That sold well as well, also in Elsternwick. So we're very hot in Elsternwick, Philip. Then went up to Paran, a property there in Dandenong Road, unit number 2 at 309. Massive apartment, Phil.
On the corner of Irving Road, I think that was.
It is, right on the corner of Irving Road there. And that was an interesting one. We thought we'd get somewhere in the mid-6s where the reserve was. We pitched it to 6 to 660. I think the reserve was 660. And again, 4 bidders, sold for $701,000. So 4 bidders now coming to a number of auctions.
You know, that's the theme.
We weren't seeing a lot of that last year, were we?
That's the theme where no longer is it just 1 or 2 buyers, but on a lot of these properties now it's 3 and 4 buyers. Depth of interest, depth to the marketplace, that's what we're looking for.
Another highlight Saturday, Philip, in Lygon Street, an auction. I think Jeremy Rose